What's up, guys? This is the network back with another video, and today we are talking about something that's going to affect everybody using credit in 2025, whether you're building credit, repairing it, using CPNs, or running business plays. If you're relying on credit cards, banks, or credit unions, there's moves being made right now that you need to understand so you don't get blindsided later. This video is for educational purposes only. If you have questions or need help applying the strategies mentioned, contact the network on Discord. Telegram is no longer reliable, and we don't respond there anymore. Now let's get into it, because the changes that just came down aren't just surface level. They go deep, and they're going to ripple into how credit unions operate, how much you pay in fees, and whether or not your protection as a consumer even exists anymore. So first up, let's talk about the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, also known as the CFPB. This agency was created after the 2008 financial crisis to act as a watchdog over lenders, banks, and credit card companies. If a company was charging hidden fees or doing predatory lending, the CFPB was the one that stepped in and held them accountable. But now the agency has been gutted, over 1,500 employees laid off almost overnight without warning. That's 90% of the entire staff wiped out. In one move, they went from having a full enforcement team to barely functioning. Now think about what that really means for the average person. Fewer people to answer complaints, fewer investigations, fewer checks on credit card companies and lenders. That's less protection for you and more room for these companies to start slipping fees back in again. But it doesn't stop there. On top of that, a major court ruling is now threatening to kill one of the CFPB's most impactful rules, which was the new cap on credit card late fees. This cap was supposed to bring fees down to just $8 and save households billions of dollars every year instead of $30 to $40 late fees for one missed payment. They were going to cut that down to something more fair. But after pressure from banks and a lawsuit, that cap has now been thrown out by a federal judge. They ruled that the CFPB overstepped its authority by capping those fees and sided with the credit card companies. So if you thought your late fee was going to be $8, you might want to check your next statement, because those higher fees could be coming right back. Now, why does this matter for people running credit plays? Because if you're using CPNs or building credit profiles from scratch, you already know one late payment can damage your whole strategy. If you miss a payment and get hit with a $35 or $40 fee, your utilization shifts, your balance goes up, and your score can drop immediately. The point is this: credit is about control and predictability, and what's happening right now is removing both. And it's not just the CFPB that's getting dismantled. The National Credit Union Administration, or NCUA, is in the same situation. This is the agency that oversees credit unions, makes sure they're protecting members, sets rules, and keeps the entire credit union system from being abused. But recently, both Democratic board members of the NCUA were removed, leaving just one Republican board member in charge. And under the law, the board needs at least 2 people to vote and approve major decisions. Right now, the NCUA is basically frozen. That means they can't pass new protections. They can't respond to fast-changing credit conditions. They can't even step in if there's a major issue in the system. So what do you do if you're part of a credit union or planning to apply for a high-limit card? Through one, you need to move smart. Understand that the systems protecting consumers are being paused or stripped completely. You need to do your own due diligence before applying. You need to read the terms on those agreements before you click submit. And you need to prepare your credit files more carefully than ever, because protections are disappearing. You need to understand how to trigger approvals with real data, not outdated advice. And you need to have backup funding sources in place, because even your favorite lender could change overnight. Let me give you a real-world example. If you've been running Navy Federal plays or other credit union plays for high limits, you need to know that if internal rules change, there might not be anyone at the top to step in and fix bad decisions quickly. And if you've already used strategies like adding yourself to someone's checking account to build history, or using secured cards to graduate into higher limits, you need to protect those accounts, keep the balances clean, avoid overdrafts, and don't take anything for granted. This is not the time to be casual about your financial strategy. This is the time to be surgical. And for people thinking that these changes are just temporary or political, let me be clear: this is structural. Anytime an administration moves to eliminate watchdogs, it's a green light for lenders to do what they've always wanted to do: raise fees, slow down approvals, and push risk back onto the consumer. And unless you're prepared, you're going to get caught in that squeeze. So here's what you need to do now. Number 1, double check your credit card agreements. Look for clauses around variable late fees or universal default terms. These can trigger rate hikes after just one mistake. Number 2, avoid carrying balances if you're using credit cards for flips or transactions. Make sure you're paying them down before the due date, not just on the statement date. Number 3, if you're building a CPN file, understand that you need to move even more precisely now. Don't skip steps, and don't rush into funding if the file isn't seasoned properly. And number 4, if you're applying for business credit or leveraging personal guarantees, remember that the environment is shifting. Banks are looking for reasons to say no, and weak files will get flagged quicker than ever. And most importantly, stay informed. Stop watching gossip channels. Stop flooding your feed with content that has nothing to do with your goals. Watch financial strategy content. Stay tapped in with platforms like the network that actually explain how this stuff works in real time. If you're serious about moving clean, building right, and getting help with any of these strategies, reach out to the network on Discord. We'll show you how to structure correctly based on what's working right now and not what used to work 3 years ago. Telegram is no longer used for support, so don't waste your time over there. Protect your file, protect your credit, and understand the system is being reshaped behind the scenes, but you still have power. If you move smart, this is the network, and we'll see you in the next video.